I'm replaying Return of the Obra Dinn, and man, am I obsessed with it. It has such a distinct style that gets stuck in your head. It has these very limited set pieces, 2 colors, and 25 minutes max of soundtrack, and it utilizes every asset as fully as I think is possible. The moon in its single color stands out brilliantly as the stars, which sway along with the ship. You're fully alone with your thoughts, and you're privy to one of the best stories I've ever been told, due in no small part to its narrator, you. The puzzles Return of the Obra Dinn present are wholly unique in their connectedness. These aren't a series of disassociated brain teasers. Every puzzle changes how you consume every other puzzle before and after. Each new challenge prepares you to answer questions you couldn't have known some chapters prior. You're given more information, but you're also conditioned to consume information and make leaps in new ways. This is Return of the Obra Dinn, maximizing the least. So I'll present the first few minutes to fully explain how Return of the Obra Dinn works. You are presented with a flyer, Obra Dinn, lost at sea. Then a memo telling you to investigate. This is truly as bare bones as it gets, and for good reason. The game knows above all what motivates players to solve a mystery, and it isn't a call to action. The fiction of this inspector doesn't matter. What drives you is a burning curiosity in your stomach. It's a game about building connective tissue to relate isolated incidents in service to a larger mystery that grips you. It's a lot like a novel in this way. None of the major moments have any motion at all. You see still moments and have to build the world, the environment, the motivations, and large mysteries which bind every passenger aboard the Obra Dinn together. When I play this game again, my player character was female. Your gender is randomized at the start of each run. That's neat. So you climb aboard the Obra Dinn to, well, nothing really. The ship sways silently. The only surviving witness is the moon, which hangs above and watches you move, trying to glean any information from the near barren deck. And now that we're on board, God, this game looks so wonderful. We're living through a period in which games are beginning to look as realistic and brilliant as they possibly can. Development time and price is ballooning as 4K, motion capture, and facial pores are becoming normal and expected. So how can Return of the Obra Dinn, made by one person, stir up so much emotion and look so striking with 2 colors and 1-bit Macintosh-style graphics? Because it maximizes every single resource and every single square inch of its set. I keep trying to introduce the basic premise of this game, and I keep getting sidetracked and gushing. Please put a bookmark in this idea. So once on board, you see a twinkling light in the distance and discover a skeletonized corpse. You retrieve a notebook which has floor plans of the ship, photos of all the crew, and a log of almost every passenger on board. This is the bread and butter of the game. They're the tools which let you determine everyone's identities, and it comes with a stopwatch with a skull on it. Memento mortem, remember death. You climb aboard to investigate the body. The sound design here is unmatched. This riff is perfect. Presented here is the basic setup for the game.
Captain! Open the door! Kick it in. Lest we break it down and take more than those shells!
You bastards may take exactly what I give you!
Man, what a dynamic way to start this game. The spray from the gun and the blood spurting from the first mate's chest. The way the light from deck centers around the captain's door. It's lit and blocked a lot like a play. If you're paying attention, you can track this man who goes about the deck and swings around to get a knife into the unsuspecting captain moments later. I compare this to a novel because of this. This is an excellent chapter to begin with because it's very reasonable to build the connective tissue that binds these moments. These 2 men threaten to kick down the captain's door as the first mate is shot. The hatted man enters and a struggle ensues.
Where are they? Must be in here someplace.
They're at the bottom of the sea.
That's a lie.
Again, attention will present the same man, framed as clearly armed with a knife. We see the final killing blow and a knife in the captain's ribs. The number of chess pieces on the board is perfect for this tutorial. Some faces are still unknown, but in this last scene, we're given the perfect connective tissue.
Abigail, your brother, my friend, I shot him dead. I'll be with you soon, my love. Please forgive me for everything.
We're seeing the last chapter in this book. The crew members we see die are the last to remain alive on the Obra Dinn. How did this mutiny come to pass? What caused the first mate and captain to kill one another, even as the last 4 of 60 alive? To close this chapter, Captain Robert Witterill apologizes to his wife Abigail, and the captain and last living man aboard the good ship, the Obra Dinn, shoots himself dead. We examine Abigail's remains and travel back in time. We see the moment she lost her life. This is the second ground-shattering moment in the first 20 minutes. Pan up slightly, an enormous kraken is given, wrapping around the rigging and crushing the crew. It sinks in that this is how the 60 aboard died. They were under siege by one or many paranormal beasts. Return of the Obra Dinn makes plenty of time to give you a better idea of why and to determine the fate of the crew, but I've given away as much of the game as I care to, so I'll pause here. With the boat shifted off balance, pulled to one side by the kraken, the waves rising above the other side of the boat in such a way that I can't help but hear and feel them crash against the side and curl the top so that they slosh on board. The music is so fitting, and it swells and falls with your head turning and trying to wrap your head around how many people are present here. How many have died and are still on deck? How many are about to lose their lives? I want to spoil another reveal given later, but a similarly shocking reveal is paired with my favorite song in this game, and it always is so congruent with the pace that I discover the shock of the scene at. Listen, and if you aren't privy to spoilers, especially if you'll play this game, skip 20 seconds or so.
Secure the hold!
Someone shoot the damn thing!
Suffice to say, I love this game. I want to return briefly to what I meant by Obra Dinn being a technical master of maximizing every little resource. The sound design is unmatched, so of course the soundtrack is good, but I can never get quite enough of the bit that plays when you discover 3 fades. It plays off this motif of playing a triplet riff every time you scroll through text. It slaps. After some of the harder puzzles, this is so electric and feels so good. There's this trill that the pocket watch lets off when another body is nearby. Following, there's a little percussion rattle and a gong. All of this feels so seamless in action. It's a sort of complicated process of traveling to the present, traveling to the past, finding bodies in scenes, locating the same bodies in the present on the ship, finding a scene, finishing a scene, and then going to the next scene chronologically, or going to the scene prior to figure out how that scene came to pass. It's kind of an intricate process that I didn't really think about for a moment until writing this. That's the way that much of this game is designed. It's meant to fit snugly and become second nature. The sound design and pace and problem solving becomes second nature and just lodges itself in your head to the point where it doesn't merit thought. That's hard to design. The precise way that this game is animated is incredible. To create this level of clear, textured set pieces in black and white is beyond me. It uses a very clever combination of shading by hatching, the Ben-Day dots, and this chowder-esque textures. Look at the stopwatch, for example, to make its environments clear and honestly super stylish. The way the ship rocks and the flies buzz around and the lanterns paint against the empty ship. I love this so much. It really maximizes its art style, and I don't think many of these scenes would have worked in high definition or even color. You always know generally what's going on, but it's just painted in such a way that you have to squint to see that there's a person in this explosion, or that this dude is without his better half. The puzzles are also linked so well, as they often aren't in puzzle games. Each puzzle gives you new information, a face or a name, but they also teach you how to approach each set piece. I found myself speaking aloud through many of the scenes as to who's talking, who are associates on the crew, what the crew knows at this point in the story, what a character between a master or apprentice is most likely to walk out first, and who would be in charge of killing a cow on board, etc. Return of the Obra Dinn is a triumph of visual storytelling, sound design, and animation. I have to repeat that save the voice acting and localization, one person made this masterpiece. It gets caught in your craw in a way that I can't quite explain. The subreddit devoted to discussing this game is filled with requests for any game which has the same crisp design and excellent puzzles. After most people beat Return to the Obra Dinn, their first question is there anything else like this? And the answer is, well, no. There are similarly great games, but nothing which has this strange, unique charm. If you have any system, I recommend playing Return to the Obra Dinn. As always, thank you so much for watching.